My favorite all-time Walt Disney World resort is Disney's Port Orleans French Quarter. But there might be another one kind of sneaking its way into the top of my ranking. What is going on, everybody? I'm David, and this is our family small shop, Mickey and Mandy. We are Disney adults, and since we are Disney adults that own and operate a small shop, that means we get to create custom bags, screen printed shirts, and handmade home decor inspired by everybody's favorite magical theme parks. And this is actually going to be the last episode in our series where we are kind of recapping our last trip to the Walt Disney World Resort. As kind of a previously on, we have talked about our day at Animal Kingdom. We talked about our evening at Disney Springs. We talked about how you could spend an evening at Epcot. But there's one part of our Disney World trip that we haven't talked about yet, and it's arguably one of the more important parts of any visit to any Disney resort. And it's the resort itself that we stayed at. And during this last trip, we stayed at Disney's Coronado Springs Resort. A truly wonderful place to stay. And in this week's video, I'm going to break down the 5 things that we liked the most about our stay at Disney's Coronado Springs Resort at the Walt Disney World Resort in Orlando, Florida. But before I go too much further forward, everybody, as always, if you are not already, be sure that you hit that subscribe button below. That way you don't miss out on any future Mickey and Mandy YouTube videos. We do the occasional Disney Parks content over here, obviously, but we also do show behind the scenes looks at how we make some of the awesome products on our family small shop. And again, that is mickeyandmandy.com, www.mickeyandmandy.com. Check us out if you haven't already. And also make sure you're following us over on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads if you're not already. That way you don't miss out on any new product drops, sales that we're going to be running, and you also will know what we are dropping during our weekly ready to ship drops. As we get closer to spooky season, there's going to be some Oogie Boogie Bash, Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, Haunted Mansion type stuff that'll be sneaking its way into those drops, so keep your eyes peeled. So pull on that yellow strap and let's ride. And I'm going to kind of treat this like a countdown 5 to 1, going in order of things that we still liked, but to our favorite thing. So in our number 5 spot, we were a big fan of the theme. If you're unfamiliar, Disney's Coronado Springs Resort is themed after sort of the American Southwest and Spanish colonial Mexico. So the architecture is very specific to that part of the world. The colors are vibrant, but they're also warm, very welcoming and inviting. And you especially get that vibe when you walk in the main tower at the front of the resort. And when you get inside the room itself, ours at the very least was lousy with Three Caballeros decor. And for me, who loves the Three Caballeros, I feel like they are a very underrated group. I feel like everybody kind of sleeps on their movie. It was nice to see some Three Caballeros representation in the Disney parks that wasn't just at the riverboat ride over at Epcot. But if you're looking for a cheaper resort experience, but you still want to see the Three Caballeros, go check out Disney's All-Star Resort. But yeah, the theme and the coloring is very warm and welcoming and inviting. Really drives the welcome home point that they try and give off at these Disney resorts. Number 4. For our number 4 spot, we're going to give it to the dining opportunities over at Disney's Coronado Springs. We didn't get to try all of them, but there is a wide variety. There's a food court, which is pretty standard for 95% of Disney World hotels. And we did get to go there, and we got to try just, your run-of-the-mill Disney chicken tenders, quesadilla. Good spot to go to for kind of a midday snack. But our first night there, we actually ended up going to the Three Bridges restaurant. If I can recommend one dining experience over at Disney's Coronado Springs, go to the Three Bridges restaurant. We went kind of early afternoon, so we were able to get a table pretty quick, but there was a line by the time we were leaving at like 6 or 7. But some heavy hitters were the burger. Our server said was super juicy, and he was not wrong. I would arguably say to a fault it was juicy because it just immediately melted the bottom bun. To drink, I got the seasonal mojito. It was like a coconut strawberry mojito. Not normally my speed, but it was lighter, refreshing, oddly creamy. Again, it wasn't my cup of tea, but if you like those kinds of drinks and you're going over the summer, give it a look. I ended up switching to this IPA that you're seeing on the screen right here. As I'm recording it, I don't remember the name off the top of my head, but here it is. And as far as IPAs go, really not that bad at all. I actually am kind of a craft beer person myself, little fun tidbit about me. And I tread lightly with IPAs because they can either be lighter and refreshing while having a slight hop to it, but they can also taste like you are sucking on a pine tree and then immediately taking a bite out of a grapefruit. Not in a good way, if there's a good way to paint that. But this one was more on the lighter, refreshing side of like a Kolsch or a Pilsner or a lager, but with a little bit more hop to it. When the rest of the family showed up, we ended up splitting some appetizers. The wings were good, crispy on the outside, chicken was really juicy. But the one that really got the group talking was the sangria flight. This is kind of what Three Bridges is known for. And from what I've been able to gather, they kind of turn over what sangrias they use in their flights. So at the time of posting this video, it is likely that they have since rotated out those options since we went back in May. So be sure you ask your server and they'll be able to tell you specifically what is going to be in that flight. But the bar staff, super talented, wait staff, friendly and informative, food delicious, drinks, Three Bridges, check it out. Number 3. The next thing that we really liked about our stay at Disney's Coronado Springs was how easy it was to navigate. Don't let the big tower at the front fool you, or the 3 bridges that meet in the middle. Coronado Springs is an incredibly easy resort to navigate because you've got the Mayan temple pool on one side, you've got the large tower on the other side, you've got the restaurant in the middle. Those are 3 pretty big landmarks over at Coronado Springs that if you ever get turned around, as long as you can make your way to one of those 3 spots, then you're going to be good. And with it being easy to navigate, it's also incredibly walkable. Like, we stayed in the absolute back corner of the resort. And to get to 3 bridges, we were maybe 5 minutes away, which means to the very front of the resort where the tower is, we were probably 10 minutes. But also, each different part of the resort does have their own bus depot. So even if you were staying in the far back corner, you didn't have to walk all the way to the front of the resort. For us, it was just kind of a hop, skip, and a jump on the other side of the building, and the bus stop was right there. Number 2, our check-in experience. Checking in at Coronado Springs was probably the easiest time that I've actually had checking into my Walt Disney World Resort hotel. I will say, leading up to it, checking in online wasn't necessarily easy, but that was kind of a whole thing just because reservations were under different emails and we were trying to find getting access to the My Disney account. So I goofed because I didn't have my reservation where it should have been. But when we got there, the cast members were very knowledgeable of the check-in process and they were friendly, and they pulled out the map and they were able to say, you're here, you parked over here, you're going to want to drive around over to this spot, and this is where you're going to be staying. Honestly, the check-in experience at Coronado Springs, they almost had it set up like the Genius Bar at an Apple store, because they had sort of these lower sitting tables, but they also had some of these high tops, and they just had cast members kind of nonsensically wandering around the lobby, just looking for people that might be turned around, kind of eyeing people that were walking in with luggage. If you were walking into Coronado Springs mildly confused, tired, or with luggage, they were going up to you and like, hey, you checking in or checking out? And they were able to get you taken care of right then and there. I don't remember the name of the cast member that helped us, but they were phenomenal. And since we had 2 different rooms with this trip, he was able to also put some ease of comfort for me and the rest of my family that their room was going to be good to go by the time they got here, that they didn't even have to come to the tower. They can just check in on the app and they were going to be good to go. It just kind of made what was a stressful trip to property just one less thing to worry about. So check-in process and the cast members that are running the show over at Coronado Springs, 2 big thumbs up for the number 2 spot. And finally, the number 1 super awesome, fantastic, phantasmic, great, big, beautiful, wonderful thing that we liked about Disney's Coronado Springs Resort. It was the proximity to the rest of the Walt Disney World Resort. The only thing that we were actually far away from, I would say, was Magic Kingdom. For Coronado Springs is at a really cool spot where it is kind of equidistant to Animal Kingdom, Epcot Studios, and sort of Disney Springs. Magic Kingdom would have really been the only big commute, but in Magic Kingdom's defense, if you're not staying at Contemporary, Bay Lake Towers, Polynesian, Grand Floridian, Fort Wilderness, or Wilderness Lodge, yeah, it's going to be a long commute for you. And even though we ended up having to take buses everywhere, the bus rides were not that long. And kind of the other side of that coin too is that since the bus rides weren't really all that long, we didn't really have to wait that long for a bus at any of our destinations. We didn't have to wait that long for a bus to Animal Kingdom, Epcot, or Disney Springs, and we didn't have to wait long for a bus when we were coming back to the resort from those spots. Like, I think the only reason we may have waited a little bit longer than we would have liked for comfort from Animal Kingdom to Coronado Springs was just because we literally just missed the bus. So that was what we liked about staying at Disney's Coronado Springs. I will say honorable mentions to my other favorite Disney resorts. Mad shout outs to Disney's Pop Century Resort as well as Disney's Port Orleans French Quarter resorts. If you want to know my thoughts on those resorts, let us know in the comments and I'd be more than happy to tell you what I love about those resorts. Or you can also check out our video, Why Stay at a Disney Hotel, and I kind of give you little snippets of what I like about those resorts. But again, before I go, make sure that you subscribe over here on our YouTube channel so that way you don't miss out on future Mickey and Mandy content over here on our YouTube channel. Next week, I believe I'm planning on doing my D23 predictions. Because that's right, D23 is right around the corner. Some things have been announced, some things have been completed since last year. So next week, I am hoping to kind of dive into what I would like to hear them announce at D23 this year versus what I think they're actually going to announce. So that's over here on YouTube, but again, make sure you also follow us over on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads. That way you don't miss out on new product drops, any sales that we're going to be running, and that is where we show off all of the information for our weekly ready-to-ship drops. But as always, everybody, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you real soon.